Urgent Dallas Cowboys FANS. Do not miss this. What just happened? You won't believe this one. But before we reveal the big news, make sure to subscribe to the channel because here we bring you daily videos with the latest Dallas Cowboys updates. And to not miss anything, activate the notifications. Hey, Cowboys Nation. Today we have some breaking news that's creating quite a buzz all around the NFL community, especially among the faithful fans of America's team. It's something that could potentially shift the dynamics of the Cowboys' defense. But at the same time, it's not exactly a blockbuster move that's going to instantly turn Dallas into Super Bowl favorites. Still, it's a move worth dissecting, analyzing, and discussing, because it shows the Cowboys are not sitting still. They're actively trying to improve and adapt for what looks to be another intense season. So buckle up because we're diving deep into the latest addition to the Dallas Cowboys roster, veteran pass rusher Von Miller. Yes, you heard right. Von Miller, one of the most recognizable and accomplished pass rushers in recent NFL history, has joined the Cowboys. At 37 years old, Miller isn't quite in his prime anymore, but he's still a proven commodity when it comes to rushing the quarterback. His resume speaks for itself. A multiple-time Pro Bowler, Super Bowl MVP, and one of the most feared pass rushers of his generation. His arrival has certainly sparked some excitement among fans, but it's also raised questions about what exactly the Cowboys are trying to accomplish with this signing. Now, it's important to understand the context here. The Cowboys have been looking to bolster their pass rush for a while now. Last season, they faced significant challenges pressuring the quarterback consistently, especially when it mattered most. Although their defense had its strengths, that lack of consistent pressure was a glaring issue that opponents exploited. That's why the addition of Miller, even at his age, is seen as a positive step. A veteran presence who has proven he can get to the quarterback, even if he's not quite the dominant force he was a few years ago. But let's be honest, bringing in a 37-year-old pass rusher isn't exactly a game-changer in the long run when you're talking about Super Bowl aspirations. Still, it's a piece, and sometimes that's what matters, adding the right pieces to fit a bigger puzzle. What makes this move particularly interesting is the team's recent history of aggressive roster management. The Cowboys have been active in the trade market, especially when it comes to improving their pass rush. They made a trade that brought Rashan Gary from the Green Bay Packers, and they also selected Malachi Lawrence in the first round of this year's draft. These moves indicate they're serious about upgrading their defensive front and creating more pressure on opposing quarterbacks. But as we all know, pass rush isn't just about having talented players. It's also about scheme, coaching, and chemistry. That's where the new defensive coordinator, Christian Parker, comes into play. The plan is to implement a scheme that maximizes the talent along the line, helping players like Quinnen Williams and Kenny Clark contribute more to the pass rush. However, even with all these pieces, some fans and analysts feel that the Cowboys still have gaps, particularly in linebacker depth and cornerback talent. The secondary was a weak spot last year, especially when injuries hit. Dallas's linebackers, while promising, still lack the experience and consistency needed to be truly formidable. That's why any move that signals an intent to add more talent on the defensive front is welcomed. But it's not necessarily enough to push the Cowboys into a different tier just yet. Now, that's where it gets even more intriguing. The talk around the Cowboys camp suggests that this signing of Miller might not be the end of their pursuit of additional pass rush help. You see, the team's ownership, especially Jerry Jones and his son Steven, have hinted at the possibility of making more big moves. During training camp, both Joneses have been somewhat reserved, but also hinted at their willingness to pull the trigger if the right opportunity presents itself. That's why the signing of Miller is being viewed as a strategic move rather than a final one. It's a way to show fans and the league that Dallas is serious about contending, but it's also a move that keeps options open for more aggressive acquisitions down the line. And speaking of potential big moves, there's a lot of talk about Maxx Crosby. Yes, the Raiders' star pass rusher. The Cowboys nearly made a trade for Crosby back in February when he was put on the trade block. Dallas reportedly offered a package that included a first-round pick, but the Raiders outbid them, opting to send Crosby to the Ravens instead, who then failed him physically, sending him back to Vegas. That's left the door open for Dallas to revisit the possibility of acquiring Crosby, especially since the team still needs that elite pass rusher to truly elevate their defense. Recently, Cowboys insider Bobby Belt shared some insights on 105.3 The Fan in Dallas. He pointed out that even though Dallas signed Von Miller on a one-year deal worth around $5 million, that doesn't necessarily close the door on pursuing Crosby or other top-tier pass rushers. Belt emphasized that the Cowboys are not just sitting back and waiting. They're watching how things develop around the league. The Raiders aren't in a rush to trade Crosby, but if the right deal comes along, Dallas could be ready to pounce. This kind of strategic patience is typical of Jerry Jones and the front office. They know that one good pass rusher can transform a defense, but they also understand that adding depth and versatility is crucial. They want to have options, and right now, they're weighing whether to make a bold move for Crosby or hold tight with their current roster. It's a delicate balancing act because the NFL is all about timing and opportunity. Sometimes, a player like Crosby can be acquired mid-season when the right circumstances align, and Dallas wants to be prepared. But let's not forget, the Cowboys also have some promising young talent. As Aruaku, Sam Williams, James Houston, these guys have shown flashes of brilliance in camp and in limited game action. They're developing, and there's hope that they can take a step forward this year. Still, veteran presence and proven production matter, especially when facing high-caliber offenses in the NFC. The team's leadership seems to agree that adding a veteran like Miller provides stability and leadership in the trenches. It also sends a message to the league that Dallas is willing to make calculated moves to stay competitive. Now, you might be wondering, how does all this fit into the bigger picture of the Cowboys' season? Well, if you look back at last year, their defense was solid in some areas but struggled when it mattered most. The secondary often got exposed, especially when injuries hit. Micah Parsons was a beast, no doubt, but even he can't do it all by himself. The team needs complementary pieces, more pass rushers, more depth at linebacker, and better coverage in the secondary. The signing of Von Miller is a step in that direction, but it's not a magic bullet. It's about building a cohesive unit that can bring pressure, cover receivers, and shut down opposing offenses. The expectations for Dallas this season are high. Fans are eager to see how the defense evolves under Christian Parker's scheme and whether they can finally put consistent pressure on the quarterback. The offense, led by Dak Prescott, is expected to be potent once again, but defenses win championships, and that's why upgrading the pass rush is so critical. The Cowboys have a talented roster, but the league is stacked with offenses that can exploit even the smallest weaknesses. That's why every move, every signing, every trade matters. And with the possibility of adding Crosby still on the table, the Cowboys are clearly not done yet. Looking at their schedule, the NFC is loaded with talented quarterbacks and high-powered offenses. The Eagles, the 49ers, the Lions, they all have dangerous passing games. If Dallas wants to compete at the highest level, they need that relentless pass rush that can disrupt timing, force turnovers, and give their secondary some extra help. Von Miller's arrival adds a veteran voice and a proven pass rusher to a unit that's still very much a work in progress. But it's also about the long game, about building a defense that can adjust and improve throughout the season. Another point to consider is the leadership within the team. Jerry Jones, as always, is aggressive and eager to make moves that put Dallas in the conversation. Stephen Jones, while more reserved, shares that same vision of building a competitive, championship-caliber squad. Their confidence in the coaching staff, especially Coach Schottenheimer and Christian Parker, suggests that they believe in the scheme they're installing and the talent they're bringing in. The signing of Miller fits into that blueprint, a veteran who can mentor younger players and contribute immediately, without the expectation of being the sole star. So what does this all mean for us as fans? It means that the Cowboys are serious about contending. They're making strategic moves, keeping options open, and trying to position themselves as a team that can challenge the best in the league. The addition of Von Miller might not have the same fireworks as some blockbuster trades in the past, but it's part of a bigger picture, a team that's trying to fine-tune its roster for a deep playoff run. And don't forget, this is a team with a rich history of resilience and big moments, and every move now is just another chapter in that ongoing story. As we look ahead, the next few weeks will be crucial. Will Dallas make that bold move for Crosby? Will they add more depth at linebacker or cornerback? How will the defense look once the season kicks off? These are questions that every Cowboys fan is asking right now, and the answers will shape how we view this team's potential for success. One thing's for sure, the Cowboys are not content with standing still. They're actively trying to improve, and that's what keeps us all excited and eager for game day. And now, Dallas Cowboys fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this signing of Von Miller? Do you believe it's enough to make a real difference, or are you holding out hope for a blockbuster trade that could change everything? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Cowboys. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, analysis, and news. So stay tuned, stay passionate, and let's keep supporting our team through thick and thin. Because at the end of the day, we're all in this together, and the Cowboys' journey is far from over. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Cowboys.